Television Nigerian, where we discuss everything COVID-19 and how Nigeria and the rest of the world is reacting to the pandemic, which has literally put the whole world on a standstill. Today we'll be taking on some matters arising from the pandemic in Nigeria and international scene. I am Charles Ibe. Victor Temba is also in the room with Daniel Atai.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to COVID-19 situation room.
Thank you for having us.
All right. This is the second phase, the third phase now of a lockdown. But even though it's an abridged version of it, just 1 week. We had 2 weeks first, 2 weeks second. Now this is in 3, it's just 1 week.
This one is
Engineer, you were not on set yesterday.
Yeah.
So how did you react to the president's extension and everything else that has been happening around since then?
I think the president is beginning to, like before, listen to the citizen. The solution he's trying to give to kind of cushioning the effect of the lockdown that is already hitting hard on Nigerians, taking cognizance to the fact that yes, COVID-19 is dangerous, but hunger too could kill before COVID-19 comes to, killing people who are already been locked down. So in his wisdom, the president has directed that from Monday, which is Monday 4th, May 4th, there will be kind of technical lifting of the lockdown, which will actually guarantee people certain times to get what to eat, go to work and carry their, domestic duties. And especially the economic side effect on states like Ogun State, Lagos State, which if you look at what they generate in terms of GDI and our industrial capacity, up to 72% per month from all that we have in the country. So locking down states like that for this long will have a serious catastrophe in our economic GDI and GDP also. Again, if you look at the palliative measures being distributed, the president in his wisdom has also seen that it is not evenly and may not be able to go around Nigerians. We are, wide over 200 million in population, and if the government would want to do, although politicians from the other angle are suggesting that $100 billion could, cushion the effect, with each Nigerian having up to 250,000 naira in their account. But that is even too much. Analysts like Okafor suggested that 70 billion naira is enough to give all Nigerians 20,000 each, since we are 206 million. And if you look at the capacity of the government, we will not be able to do that. And since we'll not be able to do that, are we going to be dying waiting for solution from the world powers, or economic, going down and we don't have solution to our economic factor, being derailed because of COVID-19? So technically, lifting the lockdown will give solution, and people should go to work and do what they want to do. And after all, we have our own indigenous and African solution to COVID-19, regardless of any bureaucratic bottlenecks being outplayed there by the World Health and the world powers. They have their solutions. We have ours too, and we could alternatively look for such inward solutions that will not take tax abroad. Since tax, no money is coming in from oil, no money is coming in from anywhere, we cannot afford to import vaccines or anything from anywhere if it is going to be for sale. So we have to look inward. The people that the federal government is empowering, researchers and institutions, we have to look inward and develop quickly the solutions, the vaccines, or even right now, get to the street, get to the research institute and quickly bring out preventive and curative measures for COVID-19. I am tired of...
Yeah, it might not be very easy.
It is even easy
to do that, because COVID-19 is a foreign It's a foreigner. It was brought to us. It didn't. It's not something that came.
It was imported.
It was imported. So maybe the cure.
Or maybe they exported it to us.
Exactly. So maybe that's why it might take a while for our scientists to get around it. If we are talking about a vaccine, but for like what we are talking about, containing and managing it and preventing it through using what we have, homegrown remedies, might be very, very, very much effective.
Yes.
Now we talked about the speech of the president yesterday. Victor, you are all happy, you are clapping for the president and all of that. But there was one aspect of it, and also we did actually talk about how to implement this lift when it comes. But that speech was kind of silent on education. A lot of concern. People are, what about the schools? He said all social gatherings still remains under lock, including churches and worship places. And they didn't mention schools. When are schools going to come back? Our children are going to be at home forever. Even though government has started advocating for online education, is it going to be the norm? How do we react to that?
Well, the president wasn't silent on the issue of education. Even maybe because he didn't expressly mention education in the categories of those who are supposed to continue to observe the lockdown, like the churches and other worship places. But then we know that schools also fall under that category. It is trying to avoid any situation whereby we're going to have a lot of people gathering at one place, and then school is one of those places that provide an avenue for people to gather in one place. So he wasn't sent on schools. They are going to remain closed until when we are done with this thing. We don't know when it will be done, but we know that a lot of people are going to suffer from that. Those who are supposed to graduate in university.
And like secondary schools, there are people to write WAEC and all of that. But given that the pandemic is a West African, is a global thing, perhaps boards like WAEC that are kind of cuts across might also consider shifting the date, or has it?
No, of course they have, but they have already suspended the exams for now
indefinitely.
They don't know when this whole thing will be over, but once it's over, then they will set a new date for the exam. My only concern is how this is going to alter the school discipline calendars, especially for and secondary school, because I know that for the universities they could actually continue from where they stop and they will adapt to that. This is important for secondary school. I don't know how much they can adapt, how much is going to alter their school calendar.
All right, Mr. Daniel, you are more you are technically inclined. Now, there is this clamor for online education. In fact, I think some states, Lagos states, they will launch a portal, e-learning or something for primary and secondary school students, and then also for university and higher institutions in their state.
Yeah.
Now, making it cut across, how do you think it's going to go? How effective is it going to be to ensure that our students are engaged right now? Because I heard someone talking about engaging classes for the children and private lessons and all of that. Isn't it still kind of violating the lockdown order? So how can e-learning actually come to assess the situation?
It's a pity that it's going to affect children, most children who are not electronically inclined in terms of educating them from childhood. But other parts of the country, like the southwestern region of the countries where we have Ghanaian institutions like Achimota and so on, where from even the age of 8 months they start teaching children verbal reasoning and e-learning. We may likely find it difficult in terms of teaching the children, but as for adults, yes. A lot of people are digitally inclined now. Even televisions are digital today. Nobody wants to sit in the house before watching TV, as we are on now. People are watching us online everywhere, and that is the trend of the 21st century. And so if anybody is waiting until, as an adult, waiting until they have to resume school, it means you will go behind. You can learn online. We have seen several courses from the United States of America, UK, and so on, and Europe entirely, telling people in Nigeria to school online. And you pay online. And then it is very, very trustworthy in doing that, and competency is there. The learning is also there. We have the Nigerian Open University, and I think most of the activities there and courses are online, except the practical ones where they will also send the kids to you online, where you follow the protocol. So e-learning should be encouraged, and especially prevent things like this pandemic. It prevents everything. Even your portal have code, you have your personal code. If you can't even cheat, you understand, because your research work and methodologies will be, appraised, still using the online protocol. There are several protocols in the program that aids you to learn, write tests, and it is time bound. Okay. One of it is that it is time bound. You can't be like a Desica and say it is not time for class, and the usual way you want to go to class, you are late 5 minutes.
So you can probably miss your classes.
You can miss your class.
Not there at that particular time.
Yes, it is time bound. They could give you a grace of maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and once the grace, your portal closes. Even the fee also is time bound. So everything is accurately programmed to meet up essence of education, especially the essence of e-learning. I would advise the federal government and the university commissions to go into that, and that will do away with these issues of lecturers having a problem with students having problem with one another, courtesan and all manner of vices in school. Everything will reduce.
People will not really be physically present in school.
Yes,
and I learn from the ease of your home.
From the ease of your home, the comfort of your home, anywhere you are, with your palm top, with your phone, Android phones, your iPhone, with whatever you have, just the way you can watch us anywhere now in the world. So, like you now, would you want to wait until maybe you tune to channels with your big screen or AIT in your house before you watch television? No, you have television online. You have even DSTV is online, it's digital. Online. So everybody is going digital now. It's the trend of the 21st century, and TVN is digital. We are online everywhere. You can just.
All right. There's one major concern, especially for me and for a lot of other, especially parents too, is about childhood education, especially for the grassroots. We have challenges with electricity. We have challenges with connectivity. Of internet connectivity, because if it is online, it's internet. How does those children in my village get to know the online thing?
Yes.
How many computers are they accessible? For how many of them have even till leaving primary to school, secondary, have seen a computer?
Yes.
You understand? Public schools and all of that. But we'll talk about it when we come back, because we'll have to go to the news desk to take on the headline news, and after that, the situation room will come back. Join us again.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the Situation Room of Television Nigeria once again. And if you are just tuning in, that is what we are talking about, COVID-19, and how Nigeria is holding up efforts of government to ensure that it becomes history in Nigeria, and also how people are coping under the situation, also preferring solution on how best Nigerians and citizens of Nigeria can adapt to the situation and moving forward, move on with their lives, irrespective of all the effects, whether positive or negative, of COVID-19. All right, before we went on the news break, we are talking about the education, the impact of COVID-19, and especially talking about e-learning.
Yeah.
And we talked about, Engineer Dan, you spoke about how, especially for tertiary education, e-learning is going to help enhance, even though there's a break in the usual formal system.
Yes.
But now, also raised concern about the grassroots, the children, the primary, the secondary to some extent,
yes,
especially those in the hinterlands,
yeah,
those who don't have access to electricity, computers. In fact, public schools, I can't remember any good public, even in the FCT here, that you can go to a public school, primary school, and see a fully equipped computer lab where primary school students can sit and operate just like their counterparts in other developing nations. So how do we begin? Because now the schools are shut indefinitely. We don't know when they are opening. Yeah,
Mr. Charles, you see, before Victor will come along, there is this thing I do know. And what I know is that when you are caught in a web, you look at how to getting out of it. I believe in focusing in the vision and then the challenges. Yes, we have challenges of electricity. Alternatively, we could make do with generator set.
We'll be making do with gen sets.
We'll be making do
for
with
as long as I can remember.
Now we have, at the primary levels, we have the unit levels. When we're talking about the unit levels, we're talking about the villages. Then we have the ward levels, which comprises of so many villages in a local government could make a ward level. Now, what am I trying to get at? The combination of wards makes a local government. Now, in the 774 local government of Nigeria, e-learning is possible. We could just have a database of the entire 774 local government if we want to start at the federal level. Helping from the federal level and sending, electronic money, financing the e-learning at each local government at the grassroots. We could do it from the FG, and we can also do it because of corruption, so that the NFIU, the Nigerian Financial Institution, intelligence unit could monitor finances going to that local government for the purpose, or the Ministry of Science and Technology, or the Nigerian, the NCC, Nigerian Communication Commission, could also be contracted to, digitalize our local government levels. Meaning that each chairman of a local government could fund the various wards that makes up, the local government. At the same various ward, they have councillors. The various wards also have villages that made up the wards. And it is very easy. It's like a web chain. We just, digitalize them. This thing is very easy.
But it will come also with a huge cost. Because if you look at the whole 770 something, and you're talking about units and all of that.
They are already, we are getting billions, spending billions of borrowing and spending to nothing, and we are not seeing the essence of it. And we are talking about how to make electronic learning easy in the face of what we have now. And you say it's costly. It's not costly. We have the Ministry of Science. We have the NCC. We have bodies that should be saddled with that responsibility.
And they will tell you that it's not captured in the budget.
If it is not captured in the budget, there could be provision for supplementary budgeting. And in supplementary budgeting, these are the finances that could, under emergency, be, put aside for emergency activities like this. COVID-19 has come. A lot of people will not go to school.
Yes.
What plan do the Ministry of Science and Technology have for e-learning? What plans do our Nigerian University Commission have for e-learning, apart from the Nigerian Open University? What is the plan for the NCC in terms of data to controlling our MSDN, that is our network providers, like MTN, Glo, and so on? Even the DSTV, there are so many channels. I think the possibility of e-learning is much easier than finding solution to COVID-19 itself.
All right, Victor.
This is all assuming that the people can afford data.
Yes, that's why I say
you did mention the service provider.
The service provider the government can subsidize. It is not only fuel or kerosene that you subsidize. This is learning now. You subsidize learning. You subsidize data from DSTV. You subsidize data from NCC. Subsidize data from all our network providers. They have to subsidize and give people data. And more importantly, if I'm using my generator in my village, I should be able to have data from the government at least.
But then this still goes back to what Mr. Charles was asking. Isn't it going to be very capital intensive? Because if the government is going to make the e-learning possible, that will cost a lot of money. Now, they are also going to subsidize fuel for those people who do not have electricity. You go to buy a fuel, then
they've already the fuel has already been
I'm just saying.
Yes.
Then at the same time, you still ask government to subsidize data for people who want to buy data and then key in online and watch this stuff. So what money will government now even really spend on budget itself?
Do you know how government subsidize data? It is not even necessary that the government give those network providers money. Government is already gaining from them, and the government is gaining certain percentage. You divide that percentage, or you take 1/3. I get it.
It's still money.
We know it's still money, but it is better to be willing to do than to be absolutely doing nothing. Anything. You see, when you are doing nothing towards a situation, you go behind.
Yeah. No,
Definitely,
I'm just looking at here. I'm not saying government shouldn't do anything, but I'm looking at trying to put all of the responsibility entirely on government.
Can I tell you something? Anytime we are going forward in proffering solution, don't go backward. Let me tell you something about government. Government can actually do everything for its citizens, but where the government cannot, the government could do part, because citizens in this country, especially Nigeria, have been doing much for the government, have been for over 3 decades.
In fact, the citizens have been doing much of the work government
much of the work.
Doing.
And when you go to government, to our constitutional framework and government institutions on what to be done, what is the onus and responsibility of government, you will discover that you need to even sue the government for denying you several things that you have up till now, that you have become an adult. You have not benefited much from the government. Not even per capita income. Have you been any of per capita income in this country? It is in your constitution. Your House of Reps have taken your money to your constituency to go and distribute. You don't have anything to say about it, whether it gets to you or not. Hospital, they are there. Education, they are there. Power, they are there. They are giving all those things to them. You are not aware. And when we are trying to make you aware, you seem to believe or of the opinion or notion that we are trying to put things on the government. Government is already doing those things. It is for you to know. And if you don't know, get to know that government is already funding most of these things that we are talking about.
But they are not visible.
They are not visible because of the kind of leaders that are representing you at the national level and representing you. I'm talking about the National Assembly now, because they hijack those things. If not of recent, the government gave all senators palliative for their constituency. The government gave all House of Rep palliative to the tune of 150 household in your constituency. And if not that social media brought some out, we are not even aware. I get what I'm saying. People read the paper, they just read the surface and close it. People don't even have time to listen to radio or news. And then when they want to blame the government, instead of those representing them. So those representing you are already taking your constituency project, constituency allowances to you. And this thing I'm saying now is very, very easy for the government to say, we are giving you money for science and technological development. This is what we want now. E-learning. How do you computerize the schools and at your local government level? How do you digitalize them? Now NCC, you come, tell all the service providers, this is our new policy. We don't want to collect this money in cash again. Let's divide it. 1/4 belongs to the government. Okay, 2/3 should go for data, providence for our citizens in order to carry out e-learning. This is not very easy.
I remember that sometime in the past, I can't exactly put the date, the year actually. There was a time we were talking about a kind of iPad or notebook for primary schools that are already enhanced with some learning facilities.
Yes.
Then the
NSIP, the social investment scheme.
Exactly.
That they are giving students. They give them different model of phones and iPads. So it cannot be said to be only social investment students now. I mean, Empower students now. Or graduate now. This one I have to cut across.
So
everybody.
If it was possible, but did it really get to those empowered people?
Yeah, it get to them.
They did get it.
They got it in my constituency. I know the persons we put into the Empower, they all got their phones. In fact, when I was telling them that the government want to give you people phones, people say, it will not work. We are not hoping for it, but if it comes, we are happy. And it got to them up to now. Samsung.
Okay, so now it's possible, isn't it?
Even Techno.
Even using that model now, looking at the education, because this is enough to even call an emergency.
Yeah.
Because for as long as we can remember, we don't even know when it's going to end.
Yes.
Then these schools, these students, if they don't see something to prompt them, they will just play away their time, and it's taking a toll on even their brains will go to sleep. And all they know, when they come back to school, they will take another longer time to adjust again.
Exactly.
So shouldn't there be a call now for an emergency, especially in this e-learning for the grassroots? Let's leave Abuja and the big cities. The grassroots. Now, what do you think? How do you think it's possible we can go about that?
So, why should let a student, because he or she is not in school, and then the brain goes to sleep?
Yeah, of course. What do you want him to do?
Well,
you still have a situation where people are being begged to go to school.
You have your school books where you can get to lesson revise. In fact, nobody will
to
prompt you.
But
then you just get to revise.
You're saying
that is the revision.
I know when you are young, or when you are in primary school, you are not very readership. You are not very, very good at reading. I'm just trying to say, because I know you look like someone that they have to use a cane to chase you around.
I don't know, because at a point I lost my lesson reading culture while I was grown up, because when I was a kid I don't even play that much. I even prefer to read the books, and that is the reason why I was always top of my class.
I'm sure that time there was not
much
of Tom and Jerry and a lot of all these cartoons.
There was, in fact in my time there also even had handset. In my entire secondary school, I was the first student that even had a handset in the school. But that didn't let and distract anybody. Some parents. In fact, I had an uncle then that I was growing up with. Even if when we're on holiday, we don't need anybody to come and listen. He prompts me to make sure that I read. And by the time I'm done reading and I come and I say, Uncle, I'm done, I finished reading, he will say, you cannot finish reading, because you are still alive. So I had to go back again and continue. So at that point, my brain cannot go to sleep. And this should be the decision with almost everybody. You can't say because...
You said should.
Should be the decision.
Because I'm sure you are in the city.
I understand.
You are in Lagos, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, now put yourself in Otubo village or wherever it is now. The students that have not even seen Tom and Jerry, have not seen electricity for a while. All they know about school is when they have to go to school.
It means that they even have less thing to distract them.
Okay, so, but that's what we are talking about actually. Those ones, their brain will go to school will go to sleep, because now normally they're supposed to wake up in the morning and go to school. Now no schools, the whole things are closed.
Your books are
and it's possible they don't even have the textbooks we are talking about, because this is public schools.
No, listen, I am not trying to make excuses for the government because the thing is, I understand the lack of deficiency of our government, and they are not dependable people that you could want to. We could prefer this lesson solution that Mr. Dan has been giving here. They are very noble. Who is going to listen to them? Who is going to implement them?
The Ministry of Education, Science and Technology.
Many times, I talk about the e-learning material tablet. You know, in Ekiti and in Ekiti Oshun, they also provided those sort of laptops and iPads for students that were already installed with,
learning materials
and all of
exactly.
that. But it didn't get around, not even to the grassroots. You basically find out that they were actually distributed in like the cities, centers of these states in Ekiti, Osun, and probably even Lagos too in some part. They didn't get the Lagos, like just Lagos Central. You go there and find some students have
and some select schools.
Some select schools. You actually talk about schools not having less and computer lab, whatever. A whole Uniben for the longest time possible, they didn't have a computer lab, and then they had computer science students and computer engineering students,
and they were graduating
who graduated from that school. So the thing is, we know the deficiency of our governments. We know they are not dependable. Then we need to make. You say that we have been doing so much for the
government has been doing so much.
We have been doing so much for the
government. Yes, standing in
for. At a point, I don't think at a point we will not need to feel relaxed and then be looking onto the government, because they have never ever shown to be reliable at any point. So you need to first of all continue to do for yourself.
But isn't what it like bordering on complacency? So now government will just come take your votes, go in there and start living lavish, building castles,
we know how
and then using our monies.
We know how these votes are gotten.
Yeah, we know. But then it's on our behalf now that we know some of all these things. Isn't it time enough for people to start speaking out, holding government to responsible? Because I'm for once I'm beginning to agree with that now. We have to
begin to hold people. The people need to begin to wake up. Don't these people know these things? Okay, Dan is a seasoned politician. I have also been in the recent political terrain that actively participated, and then when you go there, the people themselves are not ready. When you go there, you take out your plans and everything. By the time you give out all your noble ideas, and then you realize, okay, so what is in it for us? And then by the time you don't have anything for us, like say, no, look, this is the situation. If you are always looking for what is in it for you, what is in it for you is that if you get us in, you get good governance, and then make sure that everything that was supposed to be done will be done. They say, no, we want it now.
And now.
So, and then it's the same people that then later complain. So we know how these votes are gotten. Mr. Dan, as a citizen politician, we know how these votes are gotten, even from his constituency to state. And
no, but he won his own election clean and pure. I mean,
congratulations. we know how these things are basically gotten, and then it means that we the people who even lack this intermediate. We have seen politicians come out. Let's say Senator Olujimi in Ekiti State. Yeah. At a point, he told one of our lesser constituents, and said, "Do you think your vote mattered? I paid inch of my way to the this in Senate." And then go. You have the same case here in Lagos with Oluremi Tinubu. In Lagos State, the man that is called the man of Lagos State will tell you, if you don't like, go to court. We will meet in court, and then you go to court, nothing is basically going to happen, because everything we have given, what's that word they say again? We have auctioned the country to the politicians.
Now, can I tell you something? While you may be correct,
maybe
yes,
100% correct.
Yeah, you are correct. You are correct based on what has been on ground in terms of corrupt activities that we are fighting. You understand? And say idealistical politicians should come out and say this is what we want to be doing now, not partisanship or sign godfatherism like you just mentioned, or bureaucracies that will, bottled the vision of governance from the people. Now, that Nigerians and Africa, let me say African continent entirely, are beginning to come out with the belief and the notion that it is possible to revamp and revitalize the nation. Yes, we voted for President Muhammadu Buhari to change things because we anticipated that things would be changed.
Exactly.
And yes,
they came on the mantra of change.
He came on the mantra of change, and so bad that the corrupt people were too many for him to even address or fight at once, and they began to fight him. We, on this part, as a fourth estate of the realm, I will always give people the information that will make them stand for their rights.
Catalyze them to action.
Yes, to catalyze them to action, that yes, your vote could count your vote could count. Let me tell you, even if politicians want to hack your vote, they don't do it technically with INEC or whatever. INEC will surely come there. The people you have on ground first, the people have to queue to vote and ensure that their vote counts. If the people does that, let me tell you, INEC will have no option than for the vote to count. It is when, how come we have PDP in the administration becoming governors in various states? Is it not because the vote of the people count, or the surpasses, the awareness of campaign surpasses their opponent and they won? Yes, we know that godfatherism will come to play, but no godfather will sit in one place and direct INEC commissioner, resident commissioner, and say, look, this person is going to be the one. Yes, but the person will have to go to the field too to test his or her popularity. Yes. It is there. So it is in the field that the godfather gives money, and Nigerians will now want money. So it is less for Nigerians to refuse money. Exactly. And where you cannot refuse money, you understand? I'm giving you, because you said that it is hopeless situation. It is not a hopeless situation. Like me, I fought I fought my way in. Even when the state government were backing me, yes, they say, yeah, this guy is popular, this guy has what it takes. It was not without fighting in the field, going to the field.
From your opposition.
From the opposition. The oppositions were even many. And you have to play your game. I was not having the money. Yes, I was having the backing, but no money. And I told them, this is what I have. The truth is what I have. If you like, take it. If you like, vote for me. If you like, don't vote for me. But what food my opponent are given to you today, you will go to toilet and shit them out. You will go to, you urinate whatever you have taken from them as drink. It will not last 24 hours. But what I'm going to give to you will last forever for you. Because
and did you give them?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. At my little capacity, I did. Yeah. Because I was not ready to begin to play the hanky-panky of giving you money or cut corner. No. If you believe in the idea that I have sold to you, believe me that those ideas will come to pass. And we have idealistic personalities around that we can call into politics and give them our vote. And I tell you, they can change things.
All right. Okay, so let me.
They can change things for the better.
So you say around Africa, or in Latin Nigeria in particular, we are beginning to come to the realization that we can change things.
Yes.
Now the thing is, it's you.
Not playing the partisan politics.
No, not playing partisan politics. This is coming from what people would call the elitist mentality of saying, because these politicians, most of them that we kind of encounter, they will tell you that they don't even value the opinions of people who are online. People who stay on Twitter, or is it Facebook, or
they call them whalers.
Yes,
yeah,
they call them
or to campaign on Facebook.
Yeah, they say
I tell you, it works.
Let me tell you, say the real voters are not online. They are not on Facebook.
Because that's actually true. Because most people.
It is partially true, not actually true.
In 2019, most young people thought they could leverage on the social media to this and what. But then, even in their own campaign, only about 20% of those who knew about their campaign knew about them from online. Most people knew about them
from the field.
It is those people that those people we say that have the elitist mentality that stay on the social media to argue this. We are the ones that know this thing. People at the grassroots levels do not know these things. That is where the big problem lies. You say it's not a hopeless situation. It is a hopeless situation, because just like
it is not.
Let me just tell you, it's just like what they say. You can take a horse to the river, but you can't force it to drink water. This is the situation here. You take your campaign to the people and say, these are the programs I have for you. But they say, no, we don't want these programs. Give us the money here now. Give us this rice that you're going to get. Look at the people that sell their vote. They are not people that you say they are well educated or well exposed. And these people that are not well educated, are not well exposed, and are not rich, they are the larger people in number. So when you see people who sell their votes are basically like those traders, artisans that don't listen, or those very poor people who are struggling to eat. And those are people that have this, they are more in numbers. Even if these people who are educated and whatever have their cars, they will still match these people in numbers. And these politicians are not sure of spending money in buying these votes. They go ahead. So it is a helpless situation.
Now,
It is not a hopeless
let's tie
situation.
it around to do especially what we are talking about.
Yes.
Because what we are actually advocating now
Is e-learning.
especially in this COVID-19.
Yes.
COVID-19,
And after COVID-19,
exactly,
we can forge ahead with e-learning.
This is one of the highlights of COVID-19 because it's forcing everybody to rethink, to re-engineer
Possible solutions to the world. Now, can I tell Victor something? Please, and the world over. Let me tell you, in the grassroots, the place you can call very local people and people are actually much ignorantly, not using the electronic media is part of the North. Part of the North. And sensitization has begun even by INEC. You understand? Even by INEC to educate people on electronic voting. Apart from electronic voting, which INEC is advocating that 2023 will begin electronic voting, don't forget that much sensitization will go around the 774 local governments we have in the country. In my ward, and largely part of Nigerian ward that I know, most people are using handset, either Android or Symbians. You hardly find people that don't use phone at all now. They better don't use phone at all than to use just phones that cannot have internet connectivity, where the data can be used on Facebook, Instagram, or anything. Most people are clamoring for phone. If they can afford brand new, I can tell you that 60%, if not 70% of the rural dwellers currently, they are using handset, and they are, inclined in terms of electronic communication and data usage on online, activities. The local woman that sells akara, do cassava grain and so on to take to the market, they are very few. They are very few. Even their children that they give birth to, most of them are in the universities. And they come home during the electoral processes. And they too use handsets. And they want to, how are we connected online? And we have followers from the villages following us. Even as we are speaking now, they are watching us. You understand? And majority of them, I tell you, Nigerian government do not help them to get to where they are. They help themselves. And they could also help themselves while we are begging the government to, do something in connecting the local government and ward level, even at unit level, to electronic world education. Because time will come, and I think the time is now, where COVID-19 has enlightened us that you may not be able to go to the classroom.
Exactly. You can stay
even at your university level, you may not be able to go to the classroom, and you have to depend on something to learn, to pass your exam. And all the curricula should do what? Be engulfed into e-learning. And that is this quest. That is the only solution against these clumsy classroom activities that we used to have. It is possible. It is very, very possible. And the money is there. I tell you, the money is there.
All right. Now we have talked about it. We can't exhaust talking about it. But what we really want to establish on this our situation room today, in fact, if it's the only thing the government takes away from it, they have to pay attention to e-learning. Especially, in fact, I will advocate personally that it should be made an emergency. I mean, because children are at home. Now you have actually established, I agree with you, a whole percentage of those people in the rural areas have handsets.
They have.
Even the old women too, they have.
They have.
Because some way or the others, one of their relatives are in the city, they connect, they talk somehow.
Yes.
So what we can really say, we don't really have much, is the light.
The power.
You don't have power. And then the data. Some of those places, the connectivity are so poor. So communication networks, MTN, the glows of this times should do something urgently to help the situation. Ensure that the strength of the connectivity is strong enough for them to access e-learning.
Yes.
Government should make sure, like you talk about subsidy, it's possible. Anything.
It's possible. The bandwidths are there.
They might say it's like I actually pointed out in the first, it might be cost effective. But if you say education is expensive, try ignorance.
Try ignorance.
You understand? So government should not look at the cost this time. We are talking about loans. I think we have to get to that. talk about loans coming to help with COVID-19 situation, government applying for billions and trillions. And
IMF giving us,
IMF has been giving,
World Bank bringing.
So please use this opportunity to remember the grassroots.
Yes.
2023 is around the corner, and we might be talking about electronic voting.
Yes.
So if you do it now, it's actually going to go a long way to help situations.
Yes, we develop app.
In the future.
And once you develop app, you install the app. What is there? Which university are you? Your universities bring out the app. Which department, you click your department.
And then
lecture. You take lecture that is already being programmed there. And after the lecture test, you see column for test. You click test. Exactly. You see column for examination. You click. The questions are there. You write. The time for they are there. You submit. Yes, just the way we do it is as easy as ABCD. And when it is time for job, when you graduate, you are certified. They can even certify you online, or you go to the institution by physically and take physical interview, and where they will test your competency, your wherewithal, whether you were the one that wrote this thing. And so it is very easy. It is very, and I think it's an efficient way of getting out of ignorance and what we have in the country today.
All right. So government, individuals, not just government alone, but government still have to do the much of what we are actually clamoring for now. But that doesn't remove the fact that individuals have actually been doing a whole lot for themselves, helping government do what government is supposed to do. So now we are calling for a synergy between the two to ensure that education does not suffer as a result of COVID-19. Now let's move a little bit forward. The Director General, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration, NAFDAC, as Professor Mojisola Adeye, she recently stated that the agency did not know about the status of the controversial 1,800 bags of rice delivered to Oyo State by the Nigeria Customs Services on the order of the federal government. Recall that the Oyo government returned the rice after discovering that it was weevil infested, while the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Sadiya Umar Farouk, had claimed that the rice distributed to the states were inspected and certified fit for human consumption by NAFDAC. But the NAFDAC boss said that the NAFDAC was not invited to take samples and conduct consumption fitness tests on the rice consignment before it was deployed to Oyo State. Now, that was we keep talking about palliatives now. So, the government have sent palliatives, and it turned out it was a weevil-infested palliative, and the Oyo State government rejected it. Before then, I think it was
Oyo first.
Yeah, okay. Oyo was the first people that rejected it, then followed by Ekiti. Exactly. So now palliatives, and now government have done something, and there appears to be a disconnect somewhere in between. Weevil-infested rice in the first place, coming from
Victor, if you talk.
No, I think my own major concern or major takeaway from the fact is that the minister would claim that it was certified by NAFDAC, and the NAFDAC will come and say, we're not going to go off the rice. And this is something that we have repeatedly seen happen in this administration, both from their first term coming to this last and second term, where there always seems to be this sort of disagreement. In fact, the last time at the outbreak of this pandemic, we saw NCDC coming out to say they found new cases that were sellers from online ship and product, and then the FPA came out to say, we're not aware of this, where did you get information? Please, can you give us more details so that we can get to find out?
From a ports authority.
From a port authority, and they were wondering, how is this coming out? So what played out between this NAFDAC and the Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs seems to be like when somebody tells a lie, hoping that you are going to back up, but then they not update you.
Exactly.
So you are aware, and then you come out and say, but I wasn't aware of this whole thing, because at the same time, I think NAFDAC was just trying to save their head, because how could you have come out, test the rice and test a rice that is less than weevil infested, and then certify it safe for this consumption? And
then we had the recent, I think, was it not yesterday or today? I think it was yesterday that about 110 bags of grains have been sent to Kano State.
Okay, Kano State.
Kano State, yes, to help alleviate the situation there. So government being responsible or responsive to the situation, and then their responsibility now coming into question. So how do we come out of all of this?
Everybody is just looking for easy way out. There is no easy way out when it comes to pandemic, when it comes to giving people palliative. If you are looking for a way to, give out and not from the purse, not from the government purse, and you are finding means of what you have stored, what you have seized before as a way out, it is not going to be a way out. If you want to cushion the effect of the lockdown on your people, you have to do it from the heart. You have to have the political will to doing what is proper.
What they are going to take is what you're going to give.
Yes, what you can take in your house, what costs you. It's just like God saying, don't give me a sacrifice that does not cost you anything. You have to be responsible. I just want to be quiet on this. The reason I want to be quiet on this is because the government has started doing, I think, the conditional cash transfer. Some people are saying they are receiving money now.
Oh, really?
Yes, but we want
So I should be expecting.
we want them to come out with evidence to tell us, yes, even as we are talking on TV now, to call us, yes, I have testimony, I've received mine. Let's have, that kind of a cause to come in while on the course of the program. But the government at any time have various agencies. The NAFDAC, like you said, is there. They approve food and drugs. So I do not see any reason why they have to fail on carrying out their own responsibility, their duty, especially giving out food. If you have not certified food, why should the food go out in the first place? And don't forget, I made mention on this platform one time ago that the aspect of giving out food is not it at all. Giving out food, you cannot certify the date, you cannot certify what somebody wants to eat, the body system of the person. You cannot except you give it to the person raw. And when giving to the person raw or to the household raw, you have to certify that the content you are giving is okay, and not infested by any kind of disease. It could even become virus again because you can't tell, or bacterial infection when somebody consumes that kind of food.
Yeah.
So it is proper. If you want to do it with cash. Right. And if you must evacuate whatever you stored in your stores or seized and for a long time, make sure you certify them okay before giving them to people as palliative. Coming to deny before the media that we are not aware. Whose onus is it to be aware? Is it my own responsibility?
Well, but it is right to even for them to say we're not aware. Like you said, if you are going to give out food that you've seized and kept in a place for a very long time, you have to certify. And one of the ways to certify that is to call NAFDAC. Help us check this thing.
And we have NAFDAC everywhere in the state.
But then they said they weren't
informed.
And then this whole right, and then I don't see anything wrong if the government decides to dole out foods that were seized, because if they don't dole it out, it's going to be and be waste. And then it just came in handy at this time where we had this problem and say, okay, one of the ways to do this is let this rice that we have abundant in everywhere, can we just give it out? But I don't know if they also sent it out with oil, because I know they also seized oil.
All right. This is COVID-19 situation room, and we are looking at some matters arising from the COVID-19, especially in Nigeria. Now, the Nigeria Labour Congress has warned employees against stoppage and reduction of workers' salary in the country due to COVID-19 pandemic. Now, in a statement on Tuesday, the president of Labour Union, Ayuba Waba, said workers' salaries are core elements of employment contracts and collective bargaining agreements. So, stopping it is illegal and will be resisted by Nigerian workers. Now, perhaps sounding a note of warning to employers, because by Monday they're going to be systematic lifting of, and people are expected to go back to work. We've already started crying about some job losses, and then the few that are going to be retained, there may be some talks about 20%. I think we heard from ARIC or thereabout, they got their salaries.
Almost all the airlines.
So now Labour is saying it's a no-no. Employers don't dare you tamper. But how do you look at it right now?
Yes, you see, Labour might be right. You understand? there is one thing we are not looking at in this part of the world, and that is the issue of insurance, insurance schemes. Most companies, especially private owned, don't look at insurance like that. Or let me say, it's even private owned institutions that carry out insurance schemes more than government parastatals or ministries and departments. But the government who drafted Constitution as a law and then also drive the country by that same Constitution knows that it is illegal in a time of pandemic or in a time of emergency, whether it is that emergency is happening to your car or to your house or to your ministry or to anywhere, that you now put the cost on your workers, on the workforce or your labor force. It is wrong, because the government originally have insured the ministries, the department, the agencies that you have. Yeah. So on what ground did the government want to reduce the salaries from the workers? On no ground at all. If the labor force goes to court, they will win. If they go to the labor court, which is
the less industrial court.
Industrial court.
But were they less referring to this in government employees, or
even if it is private, even if it's a private organization?
Don't forget that
I don't think no private organization would want to do that.
Now in Kaduna State, we had the issue of the states proposing 25% cost in their salaries to aid the state's response to COVID-19. When the labor union said, okay, they will call them to a meeting, and the union said they proposed 5% cut, but the government said no, they've already decided it's 25%. I think it was last week. And
the labor even agreed for 5% cut.
Yes.
Well, while that
was in Kaduna State.
That is why that is kind from the side on the part of the labor force. They should carry out analysis whether individually it was agreed
to,
or it is a bureaucracy.
The
union leadership in partnership with what they will gain from the state government or the governor, they parallel agreed, with the governor to say, okay, 25% cut. No worker at this time where the government, a responsive governor, a government gives to their people, who wants a deduction of his or her salary. Are you getting what I'm saying? A time where you know that money may not even be able to save you, or you need more to be able to live, to get food and so on, or drugs, and somebody is cutting your.
We even saw the leadership of the National Assembly agreeing to 30%
to donate their 30% to them. So they are donating.
So it's in line with all of that, so that everybody help to fight this, make it a connective fight.
The leadership of the National Assembly, they are receiving more, and so out of the abundance, they want to give to the people voluntarily, and they have started doing it. Spirited citizens, spirited Nigerians, out of what they have, they are giving out to the people. So if a government which is constitutionally binded to giving to their people, to ensure the welfare of their workers, will turn around to say we are deducting, it is
in order to provide for them like palliatives and
medical deducting from them to provide palliative for them.
Because they say the deduction will go into the fight against COVID-19. So I think shouldn't it be like the workers now relax and say, okay, you took this money, what have you used it for? Have you not? Okay, and now we expect that food is going to arrive at our footstep. We are going to have nose bands. We're going to have sanitizers placed everywhere, courtesy of what we have sacrificed in the fight against
can I hit something again? Over time, let me say over 40 decades of the experience we have in the country, starting from structural adjustment program, where cut like this were cut from workers and said we're going to be giving you, nothing was given at the end of the month or the year. Okay, what about pension? Pension arrears that you see is from the court, your monthly salary of civil servant. What happens in the long run? The government wallop the pension fund. People that they will appoint as pension boss, they will eat all the money. The people's court that you cut monthly weren't given to them. What about severances? Politicians, their own is not pension, their own is called severances. The severances is maybe 50 or 150% of your monthly salary cut every month. And when you finish that tenure, they now give you that money. The government don't give on time. Look at us in Benue, for instance. The councillors, the 276 councillors in Benue have not been paid their severance. And we have finished our tenure since June last year. And we're going to do, in 2 months' time, it will be a year that we exited office. The governor of Benue State, Governor Samuel Otom, and the Bureau for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs are still owing us that severance. What are we talking about? So now they are monitoring, ways to still suffer and subject civil servants to, hardship. This is the hardship that some of us found ourselves in, and we could not do anything. We can't get that out of it, except we need help. And when you run to the court, the industrial court will keep promoting, postponing the time for the court or whatever. Even the next 4 years, you will still be in court fighting a governor who have deliberately refused to pay you what belongs to you. It doesn't work in this part of the country, and because it doesn't work, we wouldn't want the government of Kaduna State or any government to say, we are cutting part of your salary in order to give you palliatives for COVID-19. That is completely wrong. Any responsible government should be responsive to the plight of their people at a time like this.
So you are joining Labour now?
I'm joining Labour. In fact, I will invite Ayuba Wagba to come on the spectacle show and tell us anytime they are going out, if there is room for protest, we will march to the street, even with disrespecting the social distance. Even
no. To come to that, I think we always advocate for.
You understand? But this should not be done. The government should not do at any level, whether Kaduna or anywhere, because they have never be upright to their own statement, especially when it comes to court.
Even Bauchi said they are going to cut.
No. They should not.
A lot of states are talking about cuts, so maybe that's why Labour is taking this cue, coming out strongly that those cuts.
The Labour should back and at the same time bite. I have seen this Labour backing most times without biting, and it is time sometimes when you back like this, you bite. We, on our own part, we have taken several actions against the government of Benue State, and we are hoping that he cooperates. If not, any moment this COVID-19 ends, we are storming the government house, and we are not looking back at all. You cannot owe poor people and people whose money are not up to you, their salary, their allowances are not up to what you collect. Yours has never been stopped by the FG, and then you are suffering the generality of your people. People you lead, people you govern, you put them in abject poverty, in abject penury, and you want them to feed in the time like this. We are begging Governor Tom to give us our severance using this opportunity.
Now, Victor, let's say drastic measures. I think
drastic
situations needs drastic measures.
Yes.
Now, perhaps the government is trying to take drastic measures because some governments have cried out that they don't really have capacity to contain the effects of the COVID-19. We even saw Kano State government cry out to government, come and help us. Perhaps some of all the states don't want to really start burdening the government. They want to look inwards and see how they can, within their own resources, be able to ensure that they join in the fight against COVID-19. So what's your take? Are you joining Labour? Are you siding the government? Or what should it be? What would you advocate right now?
I thought that they said this fight is for everybody, that we all need to collectively fight this fight. And then we also know, as a matter of fact, that this is the period where government is not really making money. They are not really taking in revenue, especially when you look at Kaduna State that has even declared the 30 days lockdown. Straight 30 days lockdown, which means they're not making any income.
No. So government, don't say that. Government is making, but go ahead. Government is making income, making tax.
But IGR is not coming in.
IGR is even coming in.
How?
It's
because
coming in,
but they are closed. People are not working.
I know, but you see, like NCC, government makes money through them. All these, even oil,
in
even
states.
I'm talking.
We're talking about statewide now. State government, not federal government.
There are means they still make money. So government cannot absolutely not make money.
But now economy is locked down.
It is impossible. So they make money at all. They make.
Okay.
It is not. We are not saying it is impossible for them not to make money. Of course, they're making
But
money,
whatever
but
they're
not
making
as
now
much
is
as
you understand?
so
So
saying
government
that
not
they want
making
to
money.
take so saying that they want to take 20% cut from these worker salaries is just saying this is just like your own sacrifice. This is where we are all making sacrifices.
Yeah.
No, the thing is, you might want to look at other nations, but we are not other nations. This is just with
This is
Nigeria,
Nigeria. This
with
is
our
us.
incapable leaders, with our
Honestly.
situation that we are here. So we are all working within what, how we've found ourselves. So if you say everybody are going to make sacrifices, it is not entirely wrong if you say we are going to take cuts from your salary so that we can have enough money to provide for a lot of things, which also include the lesser medical things that will be needed to fight the lesser pandemic. Perhaps maybe 20% is too much, and then they could talk about, and if this neighbor comes out and say, okay, let us
Labour is even saying no cut at all.
No, I mean, let's cannot stay, for example,
Okay,
where
yeah.
they agree at 5%, and I think that is and that is fair, because if you take 20% from somebody who collects like 30,000 naira at this lowest level, how much will the person have less to take care of? And then the Labour coming out to say they don't want anybody taking out cuts from anybody's salaries and all of that. If they're referring to the government, I will understand, but it's also referring to private sector. It's a little bit difficult for the private sector, because these are people that operate daily. They are open to clients, and at this moment, clients are not really coming in. So they can't say why we are not making money, why we are running at a loss at the moment. We'll still keep a high wage bill. It's the reason why most companies are even laying off staff at the moment. In fact, there are stories of other organizations. In fact, like the recent banking sectors. These marketers, they didn't sack them, they are still retained, but they are not paying them the salaries that they pay them. They're not paying them allowance, so that you could use your data and then run with your whole marketing, whatever you can do. Perhaps after the pandemic, you come back and then we resume at your normal salary, all of that. So everybody is suffering and everybody is giving something else and all of that. So
Labour should, taking a cue from you, Labour should soften their stand. They should not come blowing
out. They should just
understand with government
and
that
and all employers
as well. Our time is fast spent, but before we round up, let's quickly talk about the call from the President of the United States of America to our own dear President Muhammadu Buhari. It was in the news, and the part that got me actually is this, when they said the U.S. President said he's going to help Nigeria with respirators or ventilators. And I'm wondering, United States, in fact, they've entered about 1 million cases or thereabout, and over 50,000 deaths. And I don't know if everything is everything in the US, especially in terms of medical supplies and all they need. For them to not talk about giving out I'm beginning to be circumspect about what really is the interest of all these foreign countries about Nigeria, especially African countries.
It is international politics to even begin with, because we even look at some states in the US lack ventilators, and then this is something that you'd expect that if he has them, he would have given it to his
them,
states,
like New York
and New York and other states. But then you are choosing to donate it to Nigeria, for example. So it is just the international politics, and then you know for the fact that most of these big economies, they sustain their big economies by feeding on the smaller nations, so like Nigeria and the rest of Africa, for example. So it's always very important for them to maintain their interest in these countries, so that time goes on. First, these are countries that basically get oil from Nigeria to begin with. So after the whole pandemic, we don't know what kind of deal might be going on behind that.
And just like in line with this, the other day it was in the news, 200 Cuban medical experts invaded South Africa. I call it an invasion. South Africa to come and aid in the fight against COVID-19. Cuba, this is Cuba. This is US. I mean, why South Africa? What is the interest in Africa?
Well, you have to look like you have to reason that less than Cuba have been going to different countries. South Africa is just like the latest country they've been to, that they have sent their medical experts, who should have been sent to.
Are they really a very advanced medical country
for
them to be sending out medical aids?
So far, so good. They have.
Really?
They have, yes.
You know, Fidel Castro of Cuba, don't forget, I think he ruled for almost 50 years, if not. And daily, I don't think any African leader would be allowed to stay on power that long. The man, he revamped Cuba.
Cuba.
He built Cuba. All the Cuban enterprises are functional. That was what Muammar Gaddafi did in Libya before Nicolas Sarkozy of France invaded Libya and destroyed it. We know, when you're talking about Cuba, I don't want to talk about the politics of Cuba and what Cuba have done, but international politics being played when people, first world countries or higher economic country gives aids to lesser ones, it is because of the bureaucracy of, trade ties and interest ties. Okay, for instance, Nigeria, we still give Ghana light. We give some Benin Republic, we supply them electricity. And we don't have enough within the country to, you understand? We even give aid to Niger and Senegal and so on before now. So it is international bureaucracy under trade ties, especially within nations that are members of the United Nations organization. That is a part. And U.S. want to keep Nigeria as its ally, the way China also have interest in the country. And the interest might be what we could offer in terms of raw materials, in terms of continuity in doing business, in terms of even, if possible, to even devalue our naira so that we can depend on the dollars, while China is proffering solutions to their own in terms of yuan.
It was also in the news that the House of Representatives, they said they're going to institute a probe on Chinese nationalities in Nigeria and their businesses. Actually want to investigate Chinese nationals, their status in Nigeria, and actually do the businesses they do in Nigeria. So because...
Well, if they are doing businesses in Nigeria, I think what we should learn from them, we should allow them to teach us what we need to know in terms of technology, because they are inclined than us. You understand?
But we've not seen a lot of...
They are not really doing most of the lesson technological things
yes,
here.
Transfer of technology, they don't. They do most of everything themselves.
You may not know, but I think they do. It is depending on the memorandum of understanding signed before they came in. But if you have a good MOU, definitely they will follow it. It is now less for any ministry or the FG directing any ministry that is going to contract Chinese people to come in to define, the status quo of the MOU before their operation. The same goes to any country, but most time we chicken out because of the issue of complexity, where we feel inferior and then we go by bureaucratic bottlenecks and then shy away from what they are supposed to do for us and what we are supposed to hold them responsible to doing for us. We shy away from them oftentimes, and that goes down to leadership. It boils down to leadership, the willingness of a particular leader saddled with that responsibility to do for the country. Most time we are not patriotic to put Nigeria first. We put ourselves first. I will put our family first, and then they see that we are not patriotic. They now go by what we think as individuals and not what the country thinks for them to do for us.
All right.
And that has been the problem.
Well, maybe in addition to what you said, you have to also look at the Chinese companies in Nigeria. These are not companies that really deal with technology. Like last year was it when the Ministry of Transport had to send Nigerians to China to go and learn the whole lesson technology about coach for train and all of that.
Yes,
so
exactly.
If these guys were bringing their lesson technology stuff into Nigeria, we wouldn't have had to send people all the way to China to go and learn those stuff. So it's like these are people that just do most of the construction, and most of the Chinese companies I've seen in Nigeria is mostly about lesson production of stuff that, so it's not really lesson technological that they want to do. So anything that has to do with technological, then they import it from their country, and basically, so.
All right, we have been talking about some matters arising, going by the COVID-19 situation in Nigeria, and also we've looked at some international angles to the fight against COVID-19, talking about the aids coming from the first world countries to third world countries or thereabouts. And also we've been able to talk about what the government needs to do right now, especially about our education system, looking at the primary education and e-learning. We've made a lot of suggestions. Hopefully somebody somewhere heard us today on this COVID-19 situation, and we demand for action. We demand for proactive action from government and also from spirited individuals to also come in that direction and help so that our children in the hinterlands, in the rural areas, those in public schools, those who do not have access to electricity, do not have access to the internet, will get access so that this time of lockdown of schools, they should also keep abreast with their education and not suffer so much in terms of making sure that they keep up to speed with their learning processes. It has been Daniel Atai and Victor Temba in the situation room with me today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, sir.
And also thank you for being a part of it. This is where we'll draw the curtains. And we'll also do this again tomorrow. See you then. I am Charles Ibe. Have a lovely day.
Coronavirus is a danger disease, a danger disease. We can fight it and win. Coronavirus is a danger disease, a danger disease. We can fight it and win. Wash your hands every time. Don't ever shake hands. Stay away from mammals, they can cause infection. Stop again, we can chase it away.